Meeting to order the Enosburgh Town Selectboard, for the September 16th, 24. So, any changes to the agenda? I'm just going to add discussion on EBCA meeting I attended last week. And the business, they switched it. It used to be the Business Association, now it's a Business Community Association, I believe. EBCA, I think it is now. Does that make sense?
EBCA, Enosburgh Business
Community.
Association.
Yes.
Sounds good.
And then just some quick discussion on an update on police.
And do you want to add energy grant?
Oh, yes, I did that this year, yeah.
Was that energy grant?
Energy grant, yeah, Municipal Energy Resiliency Program. MERP.
I'll make a motion to add those 3 items to the agenda.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to add the Enosburgh Business Community Association discussion, policing and energy grant to the agenda. Any discussion on that? None, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Anybody for public comment? Seeing none. Do we want to move right into the ambulance side of it? And have you done and gone before the library people come?
How you guys doing?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
Savoring this last little bit of summer.
I know. Times are already changing.
They are, and they changed quick last year too.
Yeah.
Because of like this last
Chris, before I forget, this is what you requested. This is the only thing I added to it. I'll touch this one just requested.
Oh, okay.
Except not all the other things that you asked for.
And did you get my email about that employee?
Oh, yes. I have it.
Yep. As long as I can get it before I leave.
Yep.
Oh, nobody gets to
True.
be your fault.
Nice. Right. All right. So a few items to go over with tonight. Starting out, crew updates. We have 2 new hires that started at the beginning of this month. Ian, who's a paramedic, and then Adam is a EMT. They're both in our orientation process right now. Adam is our guinea pig going through our new field training officer orientation program, which is basically kind of an orientation packet that we've created to make a smoother process for new orientees when they're coming, especially when they're new to EMS, just to get them kind of their feet wet and understanding of kind of a clear checklist structure that they can go through when they start with us. He's liked it so far. He's got no complaints about it. I'm happy about. He'll be done his orientation at the end of this month along with Ian. And we're going to reevaluate that. He's doing really well right now. Dustin, he's one of our EMTs that works for us. He just passed his 8 EMT test, and he's now licensed at the 8 EMT level, so we added an ALS provider to our service. And then Amelia Groton, who is a junior member. She's graduated from our junior program, and she just passed her EMT certification, so all doing really well. We've got 3 other people that are in the process of testing, so all currently employed. They're looking to advance their licensure, so fingers crossed they all pass. But we're all doing really well right now.
I saw that you guys were offering class for Andy.
Yes, I forgot to add that to the agenda.
How's it going? Have you had anybody sign up?
So we've had 2 sign-ups so far. It's a class up to 10 people, so it's an 8 EMT class. That's gonna take place starting at the end of this month, September 30th, and it's gonna run until March. Billy's teaching it, he's the head instructor of the program. We've sent it out to the state, and now basically everybody has up until that September 30th timeframe to sign up. So the portal's open, we're just waiting for people to sign up. If we don't reach that 10-person limit, then we're gonna talk to the state and probably push that back until we reach that 10 person. Otherwise, it's kind of counterintuitive to function, cost effective. But everything's set up for the state. I'm happy we're doing it.
You said you got 2 signed up so far? Your own?
Both actually work here, yeah. It's opened up to everybody in the state. From what the state said, there's 11 courses that are starting up in September, but they're all scattered throughout the state, the majority of which are down in southern Vermont. We're the only 8 EMT class right now in the northern section of Vermont. And then there's another one going on in the EMT class that Fairfax is putting on. I hadn't heard from Kathy yet.
Is it something you can take remotely, or do you have to be in person?
With the new requirements, the majority of which has to be done in person because they're switching over to this proficiency-based program. So instead of doing, when you finish a class, you would take 2 tests. One would be your written, the second would be your psychomotor, which is going in and hands-on doing things. They've done away with the psychomotor now, so it's all tested within the class instead of the national registry.
Sounds awesome.
The way of changing things. Aside from that, our new uniforms came in. Sam's displaying our t-shirts. Mine are in the
Walk
wash.
a little bit.
These basically match what we did with the job shirts, and that's our official new uniform for the remainder of time. And for you guys, these came in as well. I got one for each of you. These are 50th anniversary shirts. We'll have to go through the sizes. I didn't label who's, but I know we have all the select board members' shirts are here, so you've got a logo on the front, and then 50th anniversary.
Oh, that's great. That is awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There is one long sleeve, that one's Pierre's.
It had to be that one.
The only one
Too
that-
bad I didn't miss it tonight.
Yeah.
Looks like it's mine.
Did that one cost
Is it
more for the
XL?
sleeves?
It's like 50 cents more.
Ah,
We got it just for him. So you guys can go through those. just
Thank you.
sizes, you guys got the
yeah, I
list.
have the sizes in this book actually.
I will forewarn you, they're 100% cotton, so don't dry them, because they shrink a lot, as I learned. So our new uniforms are in, and everybody has received their new uniforms. The Unit 3 update, Sam updated me this afternoon. Everything medically is in the vehicle, ready to go. Our radio, the equipment is with Radio North right now, and we're programming the radio as we speak. So.
Is it the one you wanted that was mounted inside, or, okay, so, because I know for a while you were going to ask for permission to use handhelds if you
Yeah.
were come in.
I did talk to the state about it, and it's an EMS rule to have a mounted mobile radio in the ambulance, and they said I had to apply for a variance, which has to go to a board for approval for us to get away with using portable radios in lieu of having a mobile room. During that process, we got updated that they have our radios, so I'm just gonna leave it
Should be
right.
soon.
Yeah, they're programming all the frequencies now, so once the frequencies are in, they can come and put our stuff. Knock on wood, that's gonna be ready to go here in the next week or 2.
I have a silly question here. It's kind of silly, I guess, but back to the training.
Yep.
And I guess it's training, but are you guys? I'm trying to think of like just public in general. Are you not qualified, but like are you able to certify like public coming in for CPR?
So Billy had his CPR instructor licensure, and he's in the process. I think he's got it back now to do it for the public, for other
Okay,
services
because I
and
would
stuff.
love to. I was just wondering if that's something that we could offer
Oh,
at
yeah.
some point.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing we would just have to figure out how that would work, like cost-wise.
Right.
Usually what most people do is they have their own business kind of as a side gig, and they do it through that. If we're doing it as a service, just what we would want to charge.
Yeah, and we would even have to. I don't think we've done it you know, as a community or you know, other?
Well, we've had some of our departments have to do a
Oh,
CPR
okay.
on the side, and we pay a fee for that, but it would probably be very nice if we could offer it as something to the community in general, because maybe somebody's gone through something that they would like to know how to do it.
Right.
Okay.
And I know with the state, there's like Heart Saver Community. The big push from the state right now is a pediatric safe community. For a while there was a stop and bleed portion. I'll look into what it takes to be a Heart Saver community. I believe X number of people have to be CPR certified, X number of classes have to be offered, and then there has to be a certain number of like AEDs around the community.
Right, because it could even be, I mean, it could be CPR, but it also could be first aid,
Yeah.
like, you know, like bleeding,
Yep.
quick response, you know, especially just
Yep, oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
winter and everything.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. He's, all of us that have to get recertified in CPR, he's gonna get through all of us through it. And,
Right.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. We can put it on the website. Everybody's interested. I just forgot the cost for it.
And would there be like, could a 16-year-old attend, or do you have to be like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't
Thinking of
think
myself.
there's an age limit on it.
you know, it's good for them
I'm
to
aware of,
have.
yeah. Yeah, there's no age limit on
Okay.
doing CPR. And we do it like at June Dairy Days.
Oh,
We'll show
okay.
people, kids, just so it's not scary for them and stuff, what CPR looks like.
Thank you.
Here, texted, said, I'm running late. Teacher.
I think it was it for Unit 3. Burlington Communications. We have them rescheduled. They're coming this Wednesday to replace the antenna on the pole on the side of the station. So barring that, there's no cancellations again. They
No
will be
hurricane.
here. Or hurricane. What is a hurricane?
No. It's been a year, so I'm
Yeah.
just making sarcastic
Okay.
remarks.
Well, I looked on the radar. There's one coming up from the south. I was like, should be here.
It's not Coast Gates.
It's literally a year.
Exactly.
It would be a snowstorm, but.
Harlan, probably. But they will be here during that time period. I'm going to touch base with Mark. It is going to affect the base station communications during that time period. All the trucks will be fine. Central will still be able to send out tones and communicate with fire into us. It just won't be physically coming into the station until the antenna's up and they're reconnected. But in theory, hopefully it will help with communications.
That's been pretty helpful.
Yeah, very consistently, it's been Central retailing us. It was really I'll fix it. Unit 2 trial weekend. So we've come to the end of doing our trial with the Unit 2 on the weekends. And so I've put together the numbers so you guys can look at exactly what happened, the number of calls, number of shifts covered, and how effective it was. So I've incorporated two things. One is just a summary that I'll go through with you guys. And then secondly, I'm sorry it didn't copy very well on the copier, but I actually broke down on our calendar schedule the calls, who was covering, and what was going on with them. So during this time period, it was a total of 6 weeks, 12 shifts. When I say 12 shifts, 2 crew members per shift, but it's 12 shifts in total. We covered 10 out of the 12 shifts. There were 2 weekend Unit 2 shifts that we didn't have anybody available to work. Did not have coverage. In those shifts, there were a total of 8 911 calls that the Unit 2 crew did and 4 interfacility transfers. And we also covered 2 events during that time period. One was the USA Cycle, and then the other was the Bakersfield Fire Department Safety Day. The 2 days that we did not have Unit 2, we missed 2 911 calls. The days that we did have Unit 2, I'll go through it with you, we did not miss any 911 calls, which is good. On average, during the 10 shifts that were covered, they conducted at least 1 call. 2 out of the 10 shifts that we had crew members on for Unit 2, they had no calls. The cost average per weekend crew was $300. So for payroll purposes, we do a weekly payroll. It was a total on average of $600 for the weekend crew on Unit 2. So in total during that time period, we spent roughly $3,000 on crew expense for salary for covering that shift. Revenue-wise, for the calls those crews did, for the transfers, we made $4,880. For the 911 calls, $10,560 of billables. Total revenue is 15,540. And net is 12,440 for having a unit 2. The calendar, this shows you breakdown. I'm sorry, again, I didn't copy completely on the sides, but I wrote out what each crew did. You can't see, so on the 10th, the unit 1 day did 1 911, unit 1 night did 1 911. The unit 2 during that day did 0 calls. They did cover part of the event. The US race came through us, so there was a portion of that event that was covered. The 11th, unit 1 day did 2 911 and 1 transfer. Unit 1 night did none. We did not have a unit 2 scheduled that day, and we missed 1 911 call during that time period. And it's up to you guys to go through each of these.
Oh, I guess, it shows like you captured a lot.
We
That
did.
child
Yeah.
did.
Yes.
Exactly. So basically, in summary, it's just a question to you guys if we want to continue the unit 2 on weekends. I do agree with Larry on the aspect of it may be more of a seasonal thing. Again, it would be kind of dependent on if our volume's low during the winter months and we're not really utilizing the unit 2 crew, then that may be a time period where we go back to calling in people to do the unit 2 coverage. Or we keep it going.
Is there more transfers and stuff in the winter or no?
I wouldn't necessarily say more, but they're pretty continuous right now. It is known to the hospital that we have paramedic coverage essentially 24/7, and they're calling us quite a bit right now for paramedic level transfers, which has been huge. Other services, they do rely on Medicare heavily to do their transfers. Missisquoi, Fairfax does a few every now and then, but they are calling pretty consistently on our availability to do transfers. And that is a big portion where that's unit 2's utilized, because then we don't have to worry about station coverage and having a crew available to do that transfer.
What are your guys' feelings on it?
I like having it. Truthfully, it's more of a peace of mind, just knowing that we will have a crew available continuously. There's somebody in the station available. It's one of those situations that when the unit 1 crew goes out on the weekend, there's nobody scheduled to be here at the station while that unit 1 crew is out. At least while we have that crew here, and vice versa. If the unit 2 crew is out doing a call, unit 1 is taking back in to service.
I like that we're not putting any pressure on Richford.
Yeah.
It's already stretched pretty thin.
Plus they're showing a little money here.
It is. Yeah.
Not a little money, a lot of money.
Yeah.
Really.
Was this super intense? I mean, could you do like another 6 week and just see, I didn't know how much, and it looks like it's time consuming. But
Yeah.
or maybe even in the winter, 6 weeks in the winter to compare and just
Right.
see the volume.
Do the 911s tend to be on the weekends or which
I didn't incorporate what happened during the week.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
He just
Put them on there just to show what they're missing.
Right, exactly. Numbers wise, the month of August, we did 130 calls in total for the month of August. Again, we're on a record year. Usually, last year we averaged around 100 to 110 calls every month. We're well above that, call volume wise. And there's a portion of it that is due to us doing more transfers. That is one of the big things that's increasing the volume.
That's part of them calls.
Yeah.
I think I'd be in favor of keep going and then
Let's see what else.
if it starts tailing off, like you said, it seems to be seasonal, just keep reviewing it.
Absolutely. We'll keep an eye on it. It's definitely new to the service. It's new to me adding it. It does add to the budget. It's an additional $600 per week that we're adding to the salary budget. As long as revenue wise, it's covering itself. That's the big thing.
A little bit more wear and tear on trucks.
Yep.
Seems good.
On that subject of trucks, once number 3 is in business, will you park one of the other ones more than that, or what is your plan for rotation?
It's going to be incorporated in the rotation. So the trucks are on a 2-week rotation right now. which one's considered unit 1, which one's considered unit 2, and it would just get incorporated in the rotation. If there's like a long distance transfer or even a regular transfer for that matter, unit 3 will be utilized for that instead of using a box truck situations.
The ambulance radio will be installed on Thursday. I sent email.
Got back to you real quick. But yeah, I haven't listed out the unit 2. I haven't incorporated it in the schedule since this past weekend. I can put it out to the rest of the year or whatever you guys want to do.
Take over the first of the year, why not? That'll get you some,
I mean, you've got off
Winter,
season
that'll get you a
coming,
little
you've got
winter
winter
time.
season,
Right.
you're hunting, foliage,
you
got
get
lots
fall
of
things
stuff.
coming up too, right? The Harvest Fest.
Yeah, quite a few events coming up.
You see it tail off and you want to address it.
Yeah,
You can.
yeah, for sure.
You guys know I'm seeing it, you understand it. So.
Yeah, I think it's a benefit when you need it. Okay, I'll do that. Okay. The next item that we are working on, Sam has put a lot into this, we've been very appreciative of. We're working on a new standard operating policy. So basically what's come about is those who are not on duty, but they want to first respond to call. And there's never really been a structured policy in place with how they're to operate, when they're to respond, when they're not to respond. And so this primarily pertains to those that live outside a distance from the station. So like those that live in Montgomery, those that live in Franklin, looking to utilize them if a call's out there, bad call, whatever it may be. The crew that's responding to the call is hailing out P.E.G and is anybody available to respond to that scene and at least initiate patient care before they get there. We're looking to implement a structured policy for that instead of a fly-by-night system where people hear the tone and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go with that, that sounds cool. That drives me nuts, I don't like that. So we're looking to structure this. I'll let you indulge into it in your portion. Yep.
So basically, like Garrett said, this policy is going to be for everyone on the service. Well, everyone's eligible for it. So it might be that they don't live in town, but they might be here on like October, well, not Oktoberfest, Harvest Festival, anywhere they're in town. So anybody who wants to quote unquote first respond, so that's whether the crew is calling for additional members to a bad call, that's if all of our trucks are out and a mutual aid ambulance is coming with an extended response time, dispatch will automatically tone for Enosburgh jumpers, which is first response. So it's anybody on the EAS roster, they're not on shift. So just to kind of structure it, they only respond when they're called. So either when they're toned by dispatch or if they have direct communication with the crew chief. So if the crew chief calls them on the phone and wants them to go, then that gives them the ability to go. This just eliminates anybody who's just hearing a call and shooting over. And then number two, they can respond with red lights and sirens. They're just gonna make sure they have their state license and their permit, and they follow all motor vehicle laws. And then number three, so they just gotta tell dispatch that they're responding. It's just common EMS rules. So number four is just about documenting. Same with number five, that's just policy for documenting calls for anyone who first responds. Number six is that first responders will be paid for the ambulance pay policy, so there's no change in any of the pay policy. It's just outlining it. And then number seven is that anybody who wants to be on first response will have to complete a training packet. We're currently working on putting together a training packet. That just makes sure that they understand the rules, that they have the equipment that they need, and they kind of understand what we expect of them when it goes to calls. And then they will only respond to calls when they have completed this training packet. We're going to give them a little bit of a leeway of time to complete the training packet. But after a certain period of time, we want to make sure that they're following the rules. So if they haven't completed the training packet, they won't respond to calls. If they do, then that leads to any sort of disciplinary action that you guys see fit. And then number 8, there is on the back here just a minimum equipment list so that they will respond to the equipment that they need. And then number 9 is just it's their responsibility for their equipment that they have to make sure that it's 1, it's there, and 2, that's not expired. And then 10 is just making sure that they follow all of our other policies and procedures. The second page, the BLS providers are just going to be required to carry at a minimum the bulleted list. This is bare necessities. These are things that will be life-saving. And then below it is what ALS providers will be required to carry. The kind of thing that's up for, I guess, debate tonight is previously Enosburgh has been, if you're in our area and you are up for first response or Unit 2 calls, we've previously been issuing bags and supplies. That can be quite costly, and with the large number of people we have on our roster now who could first respond, it's kind of up in the air of what we want to do to supply them. Right now, we're kind of looking at anybody who's within 5 minutes of the station. Response time-wise will come here because there's either another truck to take, but we also do have 2 first response bags, an oxygen bag, and a clipboard in the supply room for them to come and grab and then go to the scene. Everybody outside of the 5 minutes that's close in the coverage area, we're playing it as discretionary, so we're not going to say we're going to issue them a bag. It's just going to be on a member by member basis of how active you are, how experienced and how, I guess, well trained you are. So the question is, it does get quite expensive to supply the kits. The contents for a BLS bag without the bag is $500. The ALS contents beyond that is $80 to $100 without the bag. Some of this stuff you can only pertain for the ambulance subscription to buy medications, and a lot of the advanced life support stuff you can't just go to Amazon or Walmart and buy it. So we're just kind of looking to see how much the service wants to put forward to this.
So basically, the bigger concern that we're addressing with this is we don't want people just coming, outfitting their stuff, going to the supply closet, taking what they need, and then going home with it. It's now, no, if we do go through with this, you're being issued from the service this equipment, and everything is accounted for because I'm not a fan of fly by night.
Is this stuff all like things they would keep in their vehicle?
Correct.
Is it all able to stay in their vehicle in cold temperatures and
Yeah.
things like that?
It's essentially the bare necessities as to if I'm going to a call to keep somebody alive, what do I need that to keep them alive? But again, the big portion of this is the start cost of it, and that's the part to figure out with this is how much do we want to put for the employee to be able to use for the first response on calls. I personally feel that they should purchase their own bags. It may be something that we outfit their bags with the bare minimum list. Once they have the equipment, then restocking is very minimal expense-wise, but it is going to be expensive to start this.
So the people within 5 minutes would come here to get the supplies.
They don't need
Then
the
afterwards, they would bring it back.
So and you're speaking just Enosburgh first responders, you're not saying like a Montgomery first, or do we have any other Bakersfield? We're not supplying that, just like strictly Enosburgh?
If they're with them, with that service, then no, we wouldn't have to supply them. If they're not with that service, then it would be dependent on us to supply them. So I'll use like Billy, for example. Billy's a paramedic with us that lives in Montgomery. He's not affiliated with Montgomery First Response. But if a bad call happens in Montgomery and the crew responding is requesting Billy, hey, can you respond directly? Back call. Can you initiate care? We're 20 minutes out from the scene. And then Billy would respond directly to there with the equipment. This is the initial rough draft. We're not looking to make this finalized or any big decisions on it.
Yeah, I think it'd help if you could come up with a number that are beyond 5 miles that are interested in doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. This was more about, is this something the service is willing to venture an idea of? To kind of structure this.
I have a question about number 1 though. Are there any, what's the word? Like, if it's cardiac arrest, like, are you always available to get a hold of, like, or it says like that you need to, let's see, direct communication with your crew chief or, whatever. Is that for all cases, or what if there is like a cardiac arrest or
So basically.
not breathing and you can't get hold of it, like, so do they still need to do
So
that procedure?
how that would work is, let's say the crew that's on duty is out on a call, and then a cardiac arrest comes out somewhere in Enosburgh. The on-duty crew will notify dispatch, can you tone for jumpers? They will send out a tone that goes to everybody, we all carry active.
Oh, okay, so
On their
that's
phones.
not an issue.
Right. So they would still send mutual aid, which could be whomever, or if we have a crew that's available to take the ambulance.
Gotcha, I just wanted
we
to
could do
see how that worked, because
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar with it. If you guys-
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Definitely.
Okay.
It's more of a structured policy to control hands on deck.
Okay,
So it's not a fly by night, hey, there's a cool call that's happening, I'm gonna go there.
Seen it.
no, that makes sense, yeah, especially with traffic control and everything, all the other logistics that are involved. Yep.
Just looking to get something in writing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea. You're right, like Larry said, it'd be interesting to see how many.
It may be worth, if we've got 4 or 5,
Yeah.
You showed
that's not a
your,
lot
made your
Mileage
roster
could save
available and
somebody's life.
say who,
Right, yeah.
say the mileage away for each person. Dustin lives how many miles away, you live how many, things like that.
So most people, because this has been I don't say an unofficial policy, but there hasn't been a policy. A lot of people who have been here for a while already have bags outfitted and do actively respond. This policy is just kind of pertaining to obviously going forward with any new hires that we get in town. Like Adam lives in, he's on first.
Think so.
It would be great for going forward. The policy, as far as the rules and the guidelines go, are for everybody. As far as supplies go, we're just looking to how we're going to outfit them moving forward with the expenses. Because it's kind of up to you guys if we want to only give them the items that they can't go out and buy on their own, if we want to buy up to a certain dollar, or if we want to buy the contents and they buy the bags themselves. So it can there's a good leeway of costs. For a BLS bag, for the contents, it's $500. So if we just give them the required items that we require for a BLS provider, it's $500 without a bag. If they're an ALS provider, you add on another $100. So it can get quite expensive if we get a large number of individuals that suddenly want to first respond, or we do want to hire. Right now, I don't think we have anyone who particularly would need a bag. We're just trying to outline this going forward.
I personally don't think that they should buy their own bag, but that's just my
I
opinion,
agree.
And like you said, maybe we have a starting bag, we already have one and see how many we have to, but.
So, if they have the bag, do they bring it in to be inspected by somebody other than themselves and make sure it's okay?
Great question. So with this, Sam would be the supervisor in charge of the first response program. So essentially, all of their equipment is inspected by him, myself as well, their training. same thing, goes under our training officer and Sam, who is the supervisor of that program. So any equipment they have, any of the training, QAing their calls is all monitored, essentially, because we still follow under state guidelines. Their medications and what they're carrying has to be.
Some of the things probably expire too,
Right.
rather than die.
Yeah, exactly. Same rules. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we revisit us with those numbers, I don't think it's gonna be sovereign. We've got other people already doing it, but we should put our name on it. The values and stuff, and ownership on it.
Yes, so there'll be inventory lists of what we provide them, and then whenever they get done, however they get done, it belongs to Enosburgh, so they'll return it, so we can reissue it to somebody new.
And it's signed for their
Yeah.
ownership.
And if they went to a call and used stuff, there's probably a back and stuff.
I think it's
Yeah, it's good to have.
pretty well moving.
Yeah.
The more people we get.
But I like your idea of having it organized.
Instead of people just choosing what they want to do and going back to the structured system.
Yeah, sounds good.
So next month we'll come back with that, with the finalized items in the training and all that stuff, so you guys can review it. And then the last thing I have on the agenda is an application I received. It's up to you guys if you want to go into executive on this. There's a few things that we have to touch on about it. But I do want to present it to you guys.
She's not currently moving. So she's asking to be
An employee, yeah. She graduated her junior program.
It's only take a few minutes. We should do an executive.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second that motion for an executive. Employee personnel, anybody else?
It's been moved, seconded to go into executive for employee personnel with the ambulance. Any discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
Any opposed? We're in executive at 7:42, 6:42.
You're here.
Well, there's only one long sleeve, one short on one side and
Alright, so we got,
as a result of executive session.
as a result of the executive session, we'll take, action based on discussed in executive. Right. Yeah.
perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Sorry to keep the library people waiting. Sorry about that. Probably jumped deep quick, but
No, we're not.
All good. No, we got an hour. We did with that.
Too hot for her.
6:30.
Well, no,
you guys are ready, you're welcome. Come right up or?
Yeah.
Two hours.
I'll bring it. You know me, I talk. Don't forget that folder there. I'm a talker. We all know. Okay. So, I had brought up to the trustees, we've never done fingerprinting or background checks. And most municipal libraries do, because libraries are the vulnerable population of children and seniors. We haven't thought about it because we don't have really much turnover. But I did just hire 2 people, thankfully. One came from the school system and one was a nurse, so we know they've been checked. But in the future, my thought is for our liability, our community safety, and the town's liability, that we may want to go into this. And I know Billy Joe said that Garrett, you guys paid for a program for Garrett to run stuff. My thought was, would there be a way to, if we had an employee we had hired, run it through that or not?
No, because his is the assistant for the city.
But I know there's a program where libraries can get, and they basically will waive the fee, but it's only gonna run the background check for Vermont. So most of my employees come from out of Vermont, honestly. So
What did you
that's
learn
not
when
going
you
to
were talking
protect
about
us.
background checks when you were dealing with Morris?
Yeah, we could go to Lemoyle. I don't know how, it's Lemoyle Sheriff's Association. We could go through them and they do background checks. I'm
Out of
sure.
Vermont?
I don't know the full details
We
behind
would
it.
have to check.
I can check with Roger and Gary Taylor. Gary Taylor, the former police chief of St. Albans City, does most of that stuff. And
Because I know you can go to St. Albans Police and get fingerprinted in Swan.
Yeah.
But it's that other step we want to make sure to protect our community.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's going to be similar to what St. Albans, what everybody else is doing. It's going to be that same extensive
Okay.
I think
background
there's
check.
probably steps, like you can learn this much for this much money, or
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
national for this much. Because I remember when Garrett was talking about it, he said if he had went nationwide, it was like $1,100, $1,200.
I don't know.
League of
just-
Cities doesn't have.
I'll have to ask.
I didn't dig into it too much. I kind of handed it off to Sam at the time, and Sam had kind of talked to Gary. So, but
I'm just trying to be proactive.
Yeah.
It's a big
because, I'm worried for that population.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it should be.
And then I thought I'd give you some positive updates of the library. From January to August, we've had 13,300 people in the library. We've already received $15,200 in grants this year. We received an additional $1,000 award in honor of a staff person who displays exemplary leadership of the program that we wrote a grant for, which was the Teen and Family Night. We had such positive and huge numbers from that when I did my reporting, they awarded me the $1,000 for the library to be used for that program additionally. We, of course, run that program after hours, and the grant is done now. And that fund's used to pay for the staff time after hours. So I did get clearance from them, we can use this $1,000 to continue to pay staff time right now, because we don't have that in our budget, of course. So that way we can continue this until we present a budget again. But, so that's a very benefit thing, and it'll buy the snacks, because we're not doing meals
Yeah,
anymore.
that's awesome.
So that was really exciting. We just added Biblio Plus, which is a streaming service of like BBC movies and shows. And that's only costing us $350 a year. And there's no cap on that. So like these Canopy and stuff streaming services, you pay per stream. And it gets costly because it's per person per stream. So a lot of libraries limit their patrons can only do 3 streams a month or something. So there's no limit. So we're pretty happy over that.
This, if I can ask a question, so streaming, is it books on audio or is it just the shows?
Shows. And I think there's some podcasts on there. So yeah, all you need is your library card number, our library name, and your password, and then you set up your account and you do whatever you want. We've already offered 298 programs this year with 3,054 people attending them. We've had the meeting room used 86 times, so that's being used very well. We've done 454 one-on-one tech types in 8 months. It is crazy some days.
Do they have to sign that up ahead of time?
We recommend they do, but they don't have to. Because, I mean, we promote it for Wednesdays from 2 to 4, but if somebody comes in on Monday at 9 in the morning and they need help, we're gonna sit down with them. But we try to block out that 2 to 4 on Wednesday is where there's a time where the staff knows, don't start something, you've got this book and this book. And there's been days we've had 8 people in there during that time, so. I did ask the Lions Club for $1,000 donation, which they gave me. We used it for summer reading, and we purchased 5 new bikes, and the children won that and other prizes, and the rest we'll use for gifts at Christmas time, because we'll have Father Christmas and Mrs. Claus. I was awarded a $1,200 grant to attend the Association of Rural and Small Libraries Conference, which I just got back from. It was in Springfield, Mass. That was to pay for the registration of the conference, motel room and meals. And it was wonderful. I have ideas I'll be presenting to my trustees and we'll go from there, but an idea to hopefully raise some money for the library. And the career grant for this next round, which is our interlibrary loans come in a bin once a week instead of us mailing them all. That grant this year will be $683.80. That is basically half the cost, so that way we only have to pay that much. But it saves a lot because, like for the month of August, we had 94 interlibrary loans get checked out for our patrons that we had ordered. That's a huge number. And our 2 new employees, Sam and Emily, they are a great fit. They're doing wonderful. Sam took Lisa's spot as the assistant director and adult program coordinator. Still training her on some of that because like reading and discussion will be the first one tomorrow night, so she hasn't had one of those yet. And then Emily basically filled the position that Rose left back in May, and that's 10 hours a week. She's doing every Saturday. She wanted Saturday, so it's wonderful because not everybody else likes to work a Saturday. So it's been a great fit. So I just wanted to let you know, I mean, things are going well there, as you can see from the few numbers I did give you. We're busy.
Yeah.
We tell everybody, you know, give us ideas, books, programs, other things they might need. We do the Age Well meals. So every Thursday that gets dropped off and our seniors pick up their meal. It's usually about 15 every Thursday, so that's a good service too. Anything else?
And that was what would be the next step for the background check, the check?
I think you said you guys
I
would
think
check it.
Jesse has a contact, if the board's okay, he'll check with his, I'll check with the PLCT to see if they can offer any assistance or maybe something that they can provide, because they have former police officers on staff, and maybe that's something that they could help with in training.
And then my only other thing, I know we talked back at the budget meeting back in January about looking in for the library online phone service, whatever thing. I didn't know if we had done anything with that.
Oh, we didn't get put in the budget.
Because our phones are dying, so I'm gonna have to replace them. So,
Well, I'm not a fan of what we have. It's, well, internet-based and sometimes struggles. So we can look into something, but probably.
I mean, we just need something so that way there, you know, we've only got the one phone line, as we said. And that's our fax line, that's our phone, that's our everything. So it would be nice to have a second line so that way when we're 10 minutes helping our patron online on the phone, we can still deal with
I can look
everything.
into that. Just my own personal opinion from the internet.
Yeah.
Until it's a little stronger in Enosburgh stuff.
Well, it seems like, you know, that antenna on the church, they redid the top, but just cell phone services have gone downhill since that happened.
It's been awful.
And I don't know if it's a coincidence or if that's the problem or what.
Well, I didn't know if with the internet, would that be like through our Comcast account or something?
We have a Comcast account, but the phones are not based
Okay.
like a consolidated line anymore. And so Joey's not a fan of our phones because the first time you dial out, it's always a busy signal, always. So then you hang up and you try again, and then sometimes you have a lot of sound. Joey always uses his cell phone.
It's easier.
No, I didn't know, and I just.
We'll look at
because
a
we've
program,
gotta
but
do
I'm not gonna
something.
recommend that because it's frustrating.
Yeah,
Enosburg's not
no, we know. We know where we
updated
are.
enough to be running that, but we can look
Come
into
into
something.
Sheldon, try that one.
Hey, so I live in East Enosburg. Right, Dean?
Yeah.
We all have our issues, don't we, with it? So, yeah, okay. Anything you have for me for the library you wanna know? Input, anything?
Sounds like you guys are doing a great job.
They are.
We appreciate it.
We love our library. We just wanna keep the staff. Okay, well, thank you so
We'll
much.
check into the background checks.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good evening. Oh, you almost caught up, right?
Almost, that was really quick. Boom. Right back on track.
You're up, George.
Well, better than I do it, an hour long, anyhow.
Faster, right?
It is getting
Jay, we
dark,
can
isn't
leave
it?
you on, huh?
That's why you said
The
seven.
moon was
It's
out
like-
so fast last
You get
night.
up feeding cows and it's like, it's barely getting light out, you know. It's like, where did it go?
Sure.
Well, this shouldn't take too long.
Who's hungry?
I have driveway application on the Jones Road. Travis and Gail Bonnet from St. Albans have got a piece of land they're gonna do a. Last I knew, it sounded like he's gonna be able to do a shared driveway, one entrance to two buildable lots, I guess, so. He was checking into something that he didn't get back to me yet, so I don't have all the details on here, but he kinda wants to get going, so. I said, oh, we probably can get it signed for you, and we'll work out the final details after you get back to me on what he's got to do. There's a brook that he's gotta cross, so one property's here, one's over here on this side of the brook, so I thought he was gonna maybe have to have two ones, possibly, but then he looked into crossing and he worked with somebody from the state about crossing the brook. Sounded like maybe that was on a billboard.
Okay, this is,
Jones Road.
Jones Road, yeah,
okay.
got Chester Arthur.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Side
right.
side road on the left. Fire engine road in Bakersfield, actually, not in Bakersfield.
yeah, that's right, because I remember, the cows are actually, or when they used to have cows, they had that problem. Dad was sleeping in Bakersfield and then
Yeah,
up in Enosburg. Just barely in
Just-
Bakersfield.
just past his lot that he bought, that is the little one.
Yeah, Steve Jones went to Bakersfield.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You need a motion for that? Or you can just sign it?
You should motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the application for access right away.
I'll second.
For the name.
Travis and Gail Bonner. It's been moved and seconded for the driveway permit application for Travis and Gail Bonnet. Any discussion on it? On Jones Road.
You said it's a shared access,
yep,
it's a beneficial.
Is he planning on building two things? Is that what you mean by shared access?
I believe so, yes.
So when he comes back for driveway for the second one, we can say no.
Well, yeah, and like I said, he was supposed to get back to me, he was working with somebody with from the state about crossing the brook, and he didn't think the brook was gonna be as big of a deal as he thought it was gonna be. So I don't know exactly what that's gonna come back to me.
Would you have to cross it even with a second, if it was a completely separate driveway, or is it?
No, that's the thing, and it's a pretty good sized stream, so I don't know what who's working with and what they got planned.
He's working with the Vermont River Management department, and he's applying for a stream alternation permit. Alteration, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, yeah.
That stream, I think, is small enough that he's not gonna have any jurisdiction out there for that many, I don't know.
I think he getting smaller this week too, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like a 5-foot culvert crosses the road, so he doesn't want to do anything smaller than that for sure. But- So, I don't know, maybe that'll come back where that's not gonna work and he's gonna want 2 separate ones. If that doesn't work for him to cross the driveway and do whatever bridge or whatever he's working with them to do, I guess the only other way is to have 2 separate driveways, one on each side of the, because we have a culvert crosses the brook, so we keep going on the other sides.
Do like that here.
I like the idea of one, if we can make it that way for sure, but I understood when he explained to me that he's gonna have to cross that brook, and I thought, I don't, then maybe that's a logical reason to put 2. And then when I talked to him the next time, he said that he was working with the state and he thought he was gonna be able to, he didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal, so.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's passed. Sign both.
No,
No.
this first,
First one.
second one,
Notice.
second one is after, yeah.
We never do those.
Never come back here. The other thing I have is I guess it's a construction project agreement with NRPC, Northwest Regional. It's the annual thing that we've done in the past. This says that we agree to pay them $1,000 for administrative services for the grants and aid projects. And it's usually worth it to have them, they come up and they do these pre-construction assessments on the areas that you gotta do, because it used to be a lot simpler, but the state's got control of it now. We actually contract through the state for grants and aid, so it becomes more complicated and they take some of the complication out of it, but they come up and look at the areas that you wanna work on and come up with the project assessments, make them out so that they're ready to go. Did we have an invoice for this year?
I haven't seen
NRPC for $1,000?
I don't believe
Because
so.
we agreed last year at this time to do it
So it's
for this
every
year.
August?
I don't know if it's August or when I just have to look back to see when we've been invoiced before.
Yes. I'll email Amy tomorrow.
I don't know if it's any particular certain time. Usually we'll sign this agreement saying that they'll invoice this. I don't know, it doesn't, I don't think it gives a date when they will invoice. It just says that they'll invoice at a later time, I think. Next year.
You've been doing that for several years, or?
Well, this grants and aid program has just started up. It's been probably going for 5 years.
Oh,
We didn't used to have to do this. It was just, they just kind of
Oh,
did
I
it. It was kind of
see.
free.
this is like paperwork, more paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, the state took control of it, so it made it more complicated. Surprisingly.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded for the $1,000 for the Northwest Regional Planning.
NRPC.
RPC. Yeah. Northwest, yeah. For the assistance on the grants and aids program. Any discussion? Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? Good.
This is just one signature line there. the work report?
I have what you asked me this morning. So,
Yep.
and then it gives an explanation of all this.
Yep.
So it's saying that you don't have the LEMS, you don't have the HMP, and you don't have the It's all handled by regional planning. That's why
Well,
the email showed me.
The local emergency management plan, did you get it back from the village?
We both
That's the-
sent our own.
Okay, because that's the annual.
And he asked for it to be signed, so I think Gary Denton came up and said, hey, you need a signature.
Okay. So both boards signed it and it's been sent?
And I checked on theirs and theirs says,
Okay. The local hazard mitigation plan is the one that Sean, that needs to be updated every 5 years and it ran out like.
but he said that
2 years
because you
ago.
were actively doing it, it would look like you were.
Right. If
Complete.
you're working
Or
on updating it, then you're covered.
Okay,
So
so
we
no.
should be covered.
This is what I got for the criteria, you know, like you had, put that link there.
Yeah, there's quite a
You
difference.
see, it says right there what you said,
Yep.
17.5. And then it says.
Are we
made an
eligible for
explanation.
the 17.5? Do we have that
If we had
last?
we would have to have these completed. That's what.
Yeah, I
that's
know,
why-
but there's one more to get the 7, even if they were completed. we'd
So I'm
get
not sure
12 and a
if
half.
we have anything to do with rep report. The village does, I'm not sure we do. So that's a question for sure. But we would qualify otherwise if we are in the rep report or something.
I
I
know-
would think we are because of the federal river stuff that we have going through. But that's a question I need to ask him. He said it, he was back tomorrow in the office, his email box.
Yeah, okay. So we got reimbursement form to sign, that I went to sign. Got one the other day on the flood, the Halloween storm. So the ERAF is the state's portion. You go through one of these FEMA events and FEMA will pay you normally 75%. And then after you complete the work, then the state will come back and inspect and make sure you did the work, and then they'll pay you another 12 and a half if you meet these stepping stones, the guidelines of like the local emergency management plan that we update every year. The hazard mitigation plan is supposed to be updated every 5 years. And so in the past, we've gotten 12.5%. So with the one that we did there a while ago for the Halloween storm, the ERAF portion was only 5% because it was during COVID time. The federal government agreed, instead of paying 75%, they're gonna pay 90%. So the state said, well, then we'll only pay 5. Still a good deal. So that one went through, and we got the money for that. We got 2 different ones, money back for just lately. Well, I got the ERAF share for the windstorm of last year, which was December, but
23.
in 20,
No, 22.
22. So yes, 22. So we got the ERAF portion back for that, and the minimum that you'll get is 7.5%. And we've got 12.5% in the past. So I questioned as to why, and they said, well, we didn't meet all the requirements, and they sent me this link that you can go on. And so, yeah, for whatever reason, there's 3 things.
3 things that we're
to get.
missing.
So I don't know.
But
I
it's
haven't
nothing
s-
that we control. So we're missing them report-wise, but it's stuff that we have handled through regional planning.
Yeah.
And showing that it's not there, but it should be there. So that's something that regional planning has to clear up. And I'm
Like
not
the
sure how
local
they
emergency
can go.
management plan, we updated that again this year.
And it's showing not on the village as well, because I didn't know if they had gotten us mixed up. So I looked on theirs and theirs is the same as ours, except for theirs showing yes to the report.
There's and then the hazard mitigation plan, like I said, Sean Coleman's been working on it for a while now to update it. And that's due every 5 years. If you're working on updating it, then you're covered, so for some reason.
That's what he told us by night.
So I haven't signed that reimbursement form for 7.5% because if we can get this straightened out, they should reissue another one for 12.5%.
So I emailed Sean, he's out of the office until tomorrow. So once he catches up with his emails, hopefully we can get that done.
And And the only other thing is, I just wanted to follow up on the Gary's retirement gesture, whatever. You got back to me and
I
said
told you that.
for Cecil was, I forgot what you told me now, 500?
Yeah.
That's what we give Cecil?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's up to you guys, whatever you wanna do.
How long is Cecil employed?
He was there 18, probably,
I
20.
got done in 19. We
He got done
started
in
in
19. He started in 6, I think, 2006.
Get on
Same-
19?
Same year as Gary.
2009.
Been how long?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. So you started
That
the
must be
same
getting
year
old.
as Gary.
Yeah.
Gary started in May, he started in November of the same year.
So they probably should do
Well,
a little,
Gary was
it's
2005.
more for inflation then, cause money was a lot different back then.
And that's what it was for Cecil, we did 500.
500, yeah.
Well, their season's coming up.
Who cuts the check?
Yeah. Where do we wanna ship them off to?
Probably got more rifle as I am.
You said 25 years or?
No.
20,
20.
20 or 21, going on 21, I guess.
I would think we should at least go up on 250 anyways, cause 500, what was today's value of 500 5 years ago?
Yeah. I didn't really, just the gesture, I think we should do something. I think anything will mean.
Yeah, it's very nice of you. He's not a full-time.
I think that's a good idea, Larry, so you're correct.
Figure it out, sure.
Put in gift cards?
Gift cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Probably the Cabela.
So, is that it? We got it?
Yep, so
So, we got brought to my attention the incident that happened up there as you bring your fire,
on Pearl Road,
fire,
yeah.
fire.
Called your brother and told him about it, figured you want to know.
But it just, to me, he's acting on it because he's the owner of the place. So what happened is there's a
So we need
legal,
to go into executive.
I'm not bringing any names up.
Okay.
There's a legal fire, and what do we do as a town when people won't take training and they basically cursing, right? What do we should do something as a board out to these people.
So it's not somebody who works, it's just a homeowner
Yeah.
or a renter, just an individual burning something, is that the
Or maybe the stuff from DRB, the citation, whatever says you can't do this, maybe at least give them a
Do you have a,
registered letter saying,
What's that?
do you have a ticket book as the fire warden?
No. Can issue fines and tickets, but we don't usually do that.
We'll have to have an ordinance. on it,
Right.
though.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what we're doing.
that's just something I wanted to bring up because
Yeah.
this is the first time I've heard of it. Is this a common thing or is it,
No, this isn't usually the way. it
but when
plays
somebody
Are-
doesn't want you to
Can you
put the
share
fire
that?
So the
out?
first thing, the fire warden
Is that
job
what
they want
happened?
you to do is more of an educational thing. It's like, you're not going there to try to give somebody a fine or try to arrest somebody, obviously, or anything like that, but you're there to tell them, yeah, I don't know, you maybe didn't know, but you're not supposed to be doing that. Most people listen to what you tell them, you know, this is what you're supposed to burn, and this is what you can't burn. Most people will listen to that. They say, oh, okay, well, I didn't know that. Whether they did or not, I don't know, but now you do, so we've done our part, we've done our job. But when they won't I tried 2 or 3 times to explain to them what you can, but they didn't want to hear nothing. They just,
What was the homeowner burning? Like,
Is it a fire pit or is it a?
yeah, they said it was a fire pit, but it was mattresses, furniture, stuff like,
Household goods.
well, and they mentioned something about a bunch of cardboard, so technically they're not supposed to burn that either. Yeah,
The property owners are newly giving them some letters, but I was just thinking on the town's behalf, you know, this is an incident that hardly ever happens, or is it something we have to think about doing in order?
Well, I don't think it would hurt with the situations we've had going on.
But that's what, people seem to be getting more brazen with things that they're doing. Well,
we haven't-
just seeing what the garbage is getting thrown out.
oh yeah.
We haven't talked to you,
Awesome.
it's gonna be in the later conversation, but we had a homeless person camping off the side of the soccer field that had fire burning. So he needs to be able to have some,
Yeah.
I mean, not paid, but at least you can
As far
have
as
it noted.
burning this stuff you're not supposed to, it happens, but usually people are
Keep
understandable.
looking over all these cities and see what, you know, if they got some,
So there's
Under
state, there's state
ordinance.
laws, I mean, there's state laws
Policy.
for all that. There's state laws on what you can't burn, that's all.
it's just like the junk and stuff or the extra vehicles, a lot of times it's not the owners of the property
Yeah.
that are doing it, and they're not even aware that it's happening, but they have to be made aware and, you know, you're putting yourself in a, this person could have been more than words
Oh,
coming
yeah,
at you.
yeah.
The trouble is, I did an ordinance training last week with VLCT, and it was a webinar thing I did with them, and VLCT is recognizing that we're all, whether it's fires, garbage, all this stuff now. You know, before, you know, 90% of a nasty gram sent home, or, you know, like what Joey said, you used to be able to tell people and they stopped. Now, all of us are in the same boat, municipalities, so they were really pressing VLCT about, okay, so how do we, you know we need ordinances and all this stuff, so how do we do it properly, what do we do, how does this all get out, and that goes with the Judicial Bureau and the tickets and the fining and all of that. It gave a whole background how that works, and people are using them from dog ordinances all the way to basically,
We need dog ordinances, we need fire ordinances, we need
yeah.
garbage. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, it
we're
was
just gonna have to do like one whole.
This is just the
section
garbage
of
I
this.
saw.
This is
There
what
was
we're-
one time on a Stonehouse Road, now down here by Timmy Jarvis's. I think it's been a couple times on that road. And
There's some there.
now in my meadow, just off the edge of the bridge there, whole mess of tires.
Yeah. That's
These
getting
guys are
big
just
work.
like, oh, the town will take care of it.
I had one this spring by where you guys just spread it to Arthur's.
Yeah.
As they drove down through, somebody was in the back of the hatchback. They opened the hatchback up and just kicked the stuff out as they were driving. It was just tires and an old bumper. I mean,
Because I remember somebody had done that, I think in the village here, and they found whose name was in there, and they brought it to the said person's property, and they got in trouble. Because now they are littering on their property. It's like, well, how do you deal with this?
We had 2 days in a row on St. Pierre Road where somebody they either had stuff on a flatbed, the back of a pickup or whatever, and they would take off from 108 and just horse and race up through there and it'd all fall out 2 mornings in a row after
Yeah.
they're picking stuff up.
Yeah.
Then there's this spree between the Curly Road, Stonehouse Road, Grange Hall Road. There was the same people doing it because there were black garbage bags and dirty kids' diapers and red Solo cups was the telltale main items in there. The main contents. Either somebody was cleaning out a shed where they'd been stockpiling their garbage for a while, and then there was Nichols Road too. I don't know if you're the one that picked it up, there was some garbage on Nichols Road. One Friday I noticed, and said, oh, we'll have to grab that Monday, and come Monday I got through that way and it was all gone. Somebody picked it up. And that's what that was. And being household garbage, they're throwing it out, and then the animals get into it, so it's strewed all over. Now you gotta go pick it back up and rebag it.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads me into
Definitely have some gloves on or something. because
yeah, we
it's in that
have
garbage.
gloves, and we should probably get a couple of them pickers because. But it leads me to ask the next question is maybe having a dumpster at the garage. I've kind of been against that in the past because I said everybody and their brother would be coming there and throwing stuff in it, but this year we go pick the stuff up, we rebag it, and then we throw it in the pile in our dooryard. Call John Weatherby. Might be a few days before they come get it, because the animals get into it again and straight all over, and
Right.
handle it all over again. Maybe this has gone away, but I don't know. We always just take a couple of trash barrels out to the side of the road each week here, and that's how and they stop and pick it up, Sylvester's pick it up. I don't know, maybe we should have a dumpster, a small dumpster, like they've got here at the station, and tuck it around out back where not everybody can see
You
it.
put a lock on it too.
And you can put a lock or, yeah.
Chain across the.
Are you thinking of just for your own use to put this stuff in?
Yeah,
for
not
public
right.
use?
Or just so you're not picking it up 5 times.
The metal dumpster that we've got at the garage started out to be for our own use, that's turned into public use, but nobody's abusing it, they put metal in it. I haven't seen anything like, that it wasn't supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
Balloons used to have one in their yard and they stopped having it, so ever since then, everybody's, balloons are telling them,
Yeah.
over to town, they got one over there. I told them, don't advertise it. A lot of people
How
have
much
figured
steel
it
goes
out.
up? Yeah.
So a lot of people bring it there, and but that hasn't been a problem. I don't know, just a small.
I think dumpsters are a good idea.
I think you should try it. I mean,
Like you said, we can put a
If-
chain and a lock, or just.
if it becomes abusive, there you go, just pull it back away.
I know I've seen the one at the Opera House is overflowing different times, and I'm sure everything up.
Yeah.
But then, when you're picking it up, that's the thing, it's your time, our time, taxpayers' time.
I was bad there for a while, I was just about every day there. There's different garbage in different places.
The person who was on that road said he was helping you out when he saw him busted, he would take the recyclables.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, you're being careful, right? There's dirty guy. He goes, oh yeah, it doesn't matter.
5 cents.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring those points up. The board be aware of what's going on.
So I don't know with the dumpster, maybe we should put it out for a bid. Do you do
You could
that?
probably call both,
Or
but
do
they're
that.
probably, you like the other one over the other ones.
I don't really care. One picks it up weekly, the other one I call to pick it up, because the reason I called John Weatherby is he always used to call Bruce Weatherby, because he had the 1 ton with a big open back, and he'd pull up there and you could throw whatever in there. If you had appliances, he'd just put them in the back and then separate them when you got down there.
Hey, you can call both.
Who does
Sylvester's does.
everything else? They do all the rest of it. Whatever.
You got any update on the pavement situation?
No, I should have called him, I should call him here soon, but last I heard it was gonna be the 3rd week in September, which is next week coming up.
Actually, the third week is this week.
Yeah, this week.
Third week is this week.
Oh,
It's
is it?
crazy.
Yeah.
I thought it was next week.
They're on the Interstate 89 somewhere, so they said when they were done there, they're coming here.
Are they redoing 108 too?
I don't know.
So you put that culvert in.
Box culvert they're doing.
Yeah, it's a big box culvert.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's that gonna be?
What's that was in the second?
Somebody was from there.
Going outside of Bakersfield.
Oh, no, I'm talking
Yeah.
Enosburgh, 108.
My car.
I don't think
Put
so.
a culvert in, new culvert right by Sean Greenway's trailer there.
Oh, yeah, I heard that
I don't know
too.
what that
I
sounds
heard that was an emergency.
Oh.
They just mowed over the whole golf.
Sounds like a Harley race. Sounds like to me.
What's that sound?
Yeah, Jeff's Harley racing.
Yeah.
The busy man.
Wow.
Here, I'll text you.
I'm charging us overtime.
Alright,
So, yeah, that's all I got.
thank you.
Thanks,
How you
Jody.
doing?
Yep.
Do the minutes.
There's 2 sets.
2 sets of minutes. Oh. never heard anything more from legal for the salt shed, or there's no update on
They said that they had been in contact with each other but haven't connected, so he hopes to have an update for first meeting in August. I mean, October, so already in October.
it? I know.
Yeah, him and Bethany both emailed.
Oh,
I don't know if you're in on that. So they just said that they hadn't had a chance to legal or state and ours haven't hashed things out. They sent each other emails but haven't had a conversation.
Between the lawyer and the state?
The state's lawyer and our, and this is thing. We're considering switching. They're like half the price of the company that we currently use.
Yeah,
So
that's for
for this stuff that comes with the products, and your towels and stuff.
I didn't know what that was.
He gave us a price of the name, it's literally half of what we're paying for the company.
Yeah.
And I did think it would bother you.
No, I don't care where it comes from. They do the, so at the garage, just the rags, and then the paper towel dispenser. I don't know if they have the same, they probably
Yep.
have the same.
They would go to each of the buildings where we have stuff and they would
Yeah,
ask what you want, maybe we take down the old.
yeah,
How's the grader working?
good. Yeah. Good.
Cool. The only thing I can see on the July 15th one, probably put the time when we started.
In 26th of July, is that what it was? The playground on the 26th at 5, it says, was that 26th of July this week?
Oh, okay.
Are you seeing both sets of minutes at the same time?
Hold on.
I don't just know.
Did we rush, whoops, are we on the other minutes yet?
I haven't even had a chance.
Probably should just do one set,
Yeah,
go on to the next set. Probably easier.
Right, I'm sure you
I'll move the July 15th blackboard.
As when,
No, I need to,
whenever it happens,
yeah.
I'll second.
then we can just.
Moved and seconded for the July 15th minutes as
Maybe with
amended.
any luck here, Ken left an acre.
Maybe the brush card for the unit 3.
I don't think he did.
Says you got a brush card for an ambulance.
Oh.
I haven't had time to go.
Oh, yeah, we're still on, it's on the other,
Oh, sorry.
we're on July 15th, we haven't.
Something. So all in favor of the July 15th as amended?
Aye.
Opposed?
No, I saw that too, but
Sorry,
I
I thought we
figured we'd do it all in
So-
one shot too, but.
Anything on soccer kickball?
Nobody said
Yeah,
much.
no,
I emailed her and explained to her kind of what it was.
They want us to
Never
fix
heard a
the
thing
holes
back.
over there, so
As if I should.
probably.
Should we get close to soccer season?
Well, they're already playing down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna make it, but I didn't hear back.
Yeah.
Because she was questioning what it was.
Huh, that's strange.
Build it, Bill.
right.
Sounded like they won.
I like it.
I'll do it hard.
Give me,
Yeah.
get it for next year.
Build just half of it for now.
Just do a little tiny one and say, this is just a demo.
Hobson's good.
Okay.
The only changes were on August 12th.
Okay, see ya.
Bye, Joey.
See ya.
Thanks, Joey.
Phil was saying something about brush guard.
Yep, just for the, it says brush guard for an ambulance, just unit 3. Just so we know what the ambulance is for.
On the 12th one on Bethany, you may want to put in what she represents.
From Northwest Regional Plan.
Yeah. And on that, Ricky, should we put that as something of a continuance or?
At Adrian,
Because-
the town
I
attorney.
don't know how much I should put in detail because.
Well, no, but but if we put in continuance, then makes everybody think that we,
Moving forward.
yeah, type of thing. And then what time we get done on the 12th? Big time, big time, big time.
You want me to dig? The 12th is at 8:05, I have ambulance, so probably get done somewhere around 8:30.
Yeah, is that right on 8:45?
2:45.
I might not be right.
What's it?
Well, it's hardly right from the top road up there.
Oh, the
Earlier one.
Was it supposed to?
Not for us, but maybe for the, because of the Munson trucks that are coming in and out.
He doesn't need to be back yet.
Somewhere around 8:45 we adjourn.
No, he said, I don't think so. He said, what's going on there?
I'll move on the 12 minutes with those changes.
I'll second.
And moved and seconded for the, accept the August 12th, 2024 minutes with the changes. Any discussion? Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So for the Enosburgh Business
EBCA.
EBCA associate thing, they had a meeting last Monday night. Just going over things to talk about empty businesses and stuff and what to do with that. And how to promote Enosburgh and all, had a bunch of.
At this point, is there any empty space? Any empty retail space?
There's where the Courier used to be, and I think Great Outdoors, there's
I
not a
think
lot.
school's taking the great outdoors, I heard.
I had heard that too, but they haven't come to our office and listed. So there's not a lot of, because the others, where the bagel place used to be, the youth center went in, so it's, which, my 2 cents, is kind of unfortunate that things like that are taking up portion.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking is, you know, we want to.
I mean, great for Sean,
Yeah.
not,
Oh, no, for sure. I mean, it's
you know,
great for the
want
person
him to
owning the
make,
building.
have his
But
plates filled, but it's like,
It's kind of taken away from
It's
people that
commercial.
could have retail space.
Is there anything in zoning that says they can only have so much of that sort of stuff in there? Unfortunately, no. And how do these school activities, how does all these other businesses work with the parking? Do they, how does that work? Are they taking up parking, or how does the parking work?
They have
on every
off-site,
site?
they have off-site parking. Well, so like in the central business district, what protects residential stuff is protected, that's off-site, and then anything else is, you know, it can be off-site, it can be anywhere. You can park at the upper house, you can park at the parking right. You know, they're, obviously they've got the parking lot there, so they can lean on that.
Is the grant, are they officially?
Yeah, they do.
They are.
So I think one of the discussions was is how do we reach out and pull
No.
businesses in,
Apparently, it was
people
in the
back
corner of the mall
in
there.
these businesses
It was the outdoor store.
to do that.
They have, it's like
And
a,
it's
they
one of
have
the
3
store,
other
one
ones,
not.
2 other ones, one in Newport, one in Morrisville.
Change.
No. They're wondering, they're just brainstorming on different ideas of how to do that and whatnot.
well, Plattsburgh, the town of Plattsburgh just recently did that. They put out this whole big, Jessica's the one who was in charge of that. She was, did this whole big brochure. First they did a survey. What do you want to see in your town? What would you like to see? And then they kind of went from there, what was attainable? And then they did this big brochure, a packet, and then they sent it to the ones that people were asking for. How would you feel about coming, you know, it's kind of schmoozing a little bit like this, but we have to offer tax stabilization, things like that.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of what they were looking at. Who does the reaching out, who does all this stuff? and whatnot. So,
Actually, I was thinking, because I talked to you, and I wondered if maybe this is too high a priority for something like this, but Sarah Jo does the business class with the kids. I wonder if that's something that they could
mhm. I wonder. That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah. They were hoping to make a video or something too of just Enosburgh, just to promote it and whatnot. And wondering, and I don't know where they would do it, if it'd be on our website, village website, both together somehow,
I think links.
and stuff like that. Mhm. Another thing they talked about, like, so John has done a good job with this downtown or what is it,
Revitalization.
revitalization of the downtown business stuff. Or
Does the designation.
The business designation, which actually opens up a lot of opportunities for and help for people with business or trying to do stuff too, which is great. They kind of had with that map, they kind of had an inventory of stuff. They were wondering if there was an updated one, and I think Sean, when he was here, was working on something. I don't know if we still got access to any of that or not. If there's anything left on that.
I dug into it and I couldn't seem to find anything, but after I talked to you, I met with Abby that next day, and
Yeah.
Abby, and I reached out to her too, and she was gonna start putting stuff together, and I said, I will help however we wanna do it, wherever to make an inventory list of not only just businesses, but I guess that was discussed of kind of if there's any vacancies, any properties, anything like that, kind of what was available, in a sense, so.
Is somebody coming in where TD is?
Yeah, but.
Because TD is leaving.
Right.
Have they left?
No.
It's this week.
But
Is it this week?
I thought it was in this.
I just heard rumors and I said, you'll see what Dunkin' Donuts is like.
Yeah,
You hear that every time.
Every time I go into Hannaford,
They're not copyrighted.
I have a plowing contract for them all winter, for TD.
For TD?
So they obviously don't have any,
Yeah,
I mean, that's an assumption of mine, but, I mean, they gave me a contract to plow,
That's
so
a
they
pretty
don't
good
have
spot
anybody
right
right on
there.
the company.
It's hard to believe the Foreman house.
Yeah.
Been here a long time.
Well, the problem with, and I think it's great to be talking about this stuff and having a conversation, but sometimes the sad truth is like retailers just not cutting it anymore. I mean, look at the stores over in Morrisville and Big Lots and those places. I mean,
Well, everybody's just
Big
getting
box
on
stores.
Amazon and having it delivered right to their house.
Yeah.
I think St. Albans is getting it. I saw that they're getting something.
Big Lots.
No,
Yeah.
it was
We need something like,
Ocean State
Ocean.
Java.
Yes.
like where kids
Yeah.
can come and
Yeah.
play video arcades or
Right.
something,
Yeah.
like.
And that stuff's all gone by the
But
wayside.
then you really
too,
need some
because they
parking
do-
spots.
But, that stuff's gone by the wayside too, because now they do it at home.
Right.
Yeah, but
You
down
know.
in New Hampshire, they got some Dave and Buster's and
Oh,
places.
yeah.
It's incredible, bouncy houses. It's pretty busy with kids there.
Yeah, but it's all based on population.
I can have Jessica resend me that.
Yeah, they gotta go
Show
to
me
Manchester.
The brochure,
Yeah.
to give us some ideas.
Yeah.
If that's
It's not in that. But I'm just saying,
to the next meeting. If I get it this week, I can forward it on.
some sort of.
Sure. Not a problem. But it's definitely interesting,
Okay.
the process that is taken to get, and they've had good luck.
Yeah.
They've had very good luck.
Right. Good idea.
Thanks, Billy Joe.
You said you and Abby talked.
Yeah, actually, we talked pretty great lengths on that next day, whenever I talked to you last week.
Do they each have
About
their
it.
own thing?
Good.
They do, because they were a little, gooey, because they were just warm.
Oh, perfect.
Good. Sounds kind of most of the things there. If we were wondering about our economic development spot, but I don't think we have anything in that.
We didn't put that in the budget amendments.
Right.
Actually, we just put like a line of grants.
Right here. So I don't. Yeah. Okay.
I know Abby talked about they have that money, those monies too, from the Enosburgh Falls Economic, what's that one called? I don't know, whatever.
Enosburgh Falls Economic Development Corp.
Corp, that was it,
EDC.
yeah, so. I know she talked about a little bit about that, and I don't know how much, did they say how much money they did have? I don't
They've
know.
not said, they just said they had some
Yeah.
grants available. I
Yeah.
think you would have to apply it based on your need. Not sure that they said amounts.
Yeah, they do
They say
have,
smaller amounts, like
yeah,
5, 10, 15.
yeah, there is an
That'd be-
application process.
That would be
to
something
go
that
through
would
it.
be interesting to put out there for people. I know sometimes maybe the startup is a little much, like, just use, there's that juice place in town, tea. Maybe somebody was doing something alongside of video games that could help cover a few things with a grant versus a loan. But are these grants or?
These are grants, from my understanding, they're grants, yeah. Because they have some money, I'm guessing from when they sold the,
So they don't have to be paid off.
I don't believe so. It sounded kind of like the intent was for, obvious, economic promotion, growth, startup, that kind of stuff, rather than throwing it kind of at, the existing situation, so.
And there is something going into Garcia's. I don't think anybody's seen any movement there. Right away there was interest, like someone to rustic,
Pizza. New York style pizza.
it said rustic roots, pizza and pasta.
Good. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Do you go to all their meetings or were you just
No.
there for
I
that
just
one?
It was a special
went-
meeting.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just went to that one. Seems like there's a pretty good push in the
Mhm.
community right now for this sort of stuff. So,
I also think, one thing I would like to add, I'm not sure if they mentioned it because I wasn't there, but like some of the longer lasting businesses in town, maybe they could be a mentor for some of the newer.
yes, and that is something they talked about is
Remember that stuff?
people for,
Wasn't that offer agreement?
I don't know.
yeah, they did talk about having like a group, a mentor group or something.
Sometimes it's
for-
hard, like if somebody has a question,
Right.
who are they trying to?
Yeah. And there, that's one, that was a good point, they did bring that up about these people starting up, where do they go to figure out information? They were hoping maybe to find out, maybe Justine Abbey or somebody sit together and come up with a list of things or in contact form or whatever.
Or even like, they go with their problem and then just Jesse and Abby can say, hey, let me reach out to so-and-so, I think they have experience with X, Y, and Z or something like that, so.
Yeah, we talked a little bit, like what you and I talked about, it's basically kind of a how-to guide. It gets a little, depending on what business it is, obviously with a restaurant, there's more steps, and if it's retail, there's less steps, but kind of just a overall outline of, okay, this is, we really need to do X, Y, and Z.
But we know from our experience with the people coming in, they're like, they don't know what the first step to take. Like the other day, some people were coming in, those people, and they thought they had to get Mark LaRose as the fire chief to go inspect the building when it was the state fire marshal that needs to go. So these little things that maybe hold them back a few days, or if they had a paper that said, call these people, it would be. I mean, Jesse sent them in the right direction, but they didn't.
Yeah.
What's going on with the Dobbins building? Is it gonna be housing or they still just?
Last I
all over
heard,
the place?
supposedly a price was agreed upon by an individual, but I haven't heard anything since then. That was a month ago, 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half ago.
Was it housing they were talking about? Yeah.
That'd be a great place for the school to be, do their thing up there, and free up some space.
There was supposedly an engineering study too on the, safety of the building. That was a big question.
Spavincure.
Spavincure.
What's it? It's the one on the corner by the West Berkshire Road, that big
Big
building.
building.
Oh, this one.
Stone
Salt factory.
Okay, that's how I know it is. Factory. Okay, oh, that'd be great.
The rest of us are old.
Yeah.
You're in the younger years.
Well, my mom, I think Mom she always referred to it as that.
The other thing I had is just an update on our police meeting we had a couple weeks ago. Still struggling to get information back from everybody, but Richford was there and they were definitely on the same wavelength as we are with it, wanting to move forward with it. Wally and Bristol, no. Yeah, there's two people from Richford and they were,
Oh, I don't know.
they were, gonna go back to their board.
Kristen.
Kristen.
Yeah. Go back to the Richford board and see where they were all at with it, but they all were realizing I needed to put a little more money in and stuff. So we said we'd come to you guys and see how we felt about owning it ourselves and contracting out, or owning it with Richford. So it sounds like Richford might be okay if we owned it. If it was easier and
That sounds
faster.
like that'd probably be the easiest way anyways.
I personally like the idea of both owning it because then you both have the desire for it to succeed. I mean, we would always want
Yeah.
it to succeed. We have a little more invested.
Any other interest from other towns?
We think Sheldon, but we were having trouble getting a just catching up with them. But I think.
Matt called me and left a message, and then I called Matt back and I left him a message, hey, this is what we were looking for, XYZ. So I don't know if he just had to call me back because he's on the board to ask what they want. But I don't know, the first meeting that we had, Tom was gonna go back and ask, the question was asked, so I don't know, I'm not sure what's happening here.
What about the Bakersfield?
You've only showed up once, that's as far as it's gotten.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does the advisors say?
Well, they're not all showing up. It's like, Enosburgh is always like, yeah, but then 1 week it's this one and the next
Well, I
week it's
thought
somebody else.
one of them said at one of those meetings that we were at that they said it would be good to have one. This is just what I recall, so I could be wrong, but it'd be good to have one owner and then contract out. But that's only what I can
Well,
remember.
that's what we kind of do now with the ambulance. It's just something like this. It's a very hefty startup,
Yeah, anyway.
but it's also like an emotional, I don't know what other thing to say, like investment is very
To
taxing.
To get
on
the
one
investment, you would almost have to get a really long-term contract.
board. 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
But it's very taxing on just one board to handle the pressure from too, so that's why I, kind of thought a tri-town or something.
The last discussion, we kind of talked about the ownership, and that's why I'm waiting to talk with Roger and Gary, is the ownership still have that board, obviously, still have that advisory, whatever.
Well, which we always wanted for the ambulance, but it just never
Right.
was able to be formed.
Even if we owned it, you'd still have the advisory board, so every town had some representation on
Yeah,
that.
Absolutely, I think that's a good idea.
So you have a meeting set up
We're
for
having-
this?
We're having
Yeah.
recordings, yeah. And to answer your question, Phil, I reached out to Bakersfield too, because they've been having some discussions, and I haven't heard anything, so. And I think a lot of people are a little apprehensive, and, Pierre brought up a good point about, like, who the next administration's gonna be in the sheriff's department, and I think a lot of people, who is it, what's the future, it's a couple of years away, so, do we wanna dive into this head first, or do we?
But how long is it gonna take to
Right.
build that force back up to?
That's right, that's it, that's just it.
Being
And
what they need to be.
And with that, I would like to shout out to ESP, they've been phenomenal.
Yeah, I've seen them here more in the last month than I've seen.
We
here.
saw them tonight.
I was just telling Billy Joe that he must have been going pretty fast, or he or she.
Oh,
They
yeah.
called us after our contract ended, had a great conversation, said that just because we didn't renew didn't mean we didn't not believe in the police, and that we were very pro-police, and they said they will be here as much as they can for our community, surrounding areas, and Bridgeford, they've been right there solid with them too, so I felt comfortable.
And I think even with the sheriff's thing, if and when that term comes up and there's a changing of the guards, I think you might find some people coming out of the area that might be interested.
Well, the only reason I bring that up is because I think that maybe it's okay not to slow down, but
Right.
not to be so frantic
Yep.
about it. I mean, we still need something, obviously. I'm feeling pretty good about having them around there. We had a meeting last Wednesday night, at the office. And they pulled somebody right over about the car, so they're around all the time.
Yeah, the thing that I'm looking at is if you had your own, things that we talked about earlier that are getting in hand is,
Right.
if you put an ordinance in, now you have somebody who's gonna enforce it.
No, I agree, I just feel more
I don't
comfortable.
know, maybe the sheriff's department can to some point, but.
If you have ordinances, remember they had talked to us about that, the ticket book and ordinances.
ticket book and
it's,
everything,
Yeah, as long as you have a state statute attached to it, that's where
Yeah.
they have to cite that statute, and then
Some of the problems we're gonna run into, I feel, and Camerland isn't running on this one, but a lot of them was. The school has had problems with them, the school had to move the tent off the soccer fields, now we're having problems with them. And granted, it's publicly owned, but that's not a place for, up here at our soccer fields with kids. Down there on the soccer field where there's kids, and we're gonna have to keep our eye on all of our properties. So it's a problem.
Have we gotten a sign yet for our municipal parking yet?
We have had the signs.
I have
We
the
just
signs,
haven't had
just
the-
Joey and I
Joey
just
was
getting,
talking
that's
to him
all,
about it
so we were just
tonight.
talking about it,
Come
yeah,
down.
yeah.
Because
Seems
you might
like
have
a-
that happening there too.
Where's that?
He wanted, it's a no parking between ten
Yeah.
PM and 6
That way
AM.
we're able to,
There's no.
yeah, that way we're able to enforce a few things.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the homeless stuff seems to be happening wherever there's facilities, toilets,
There's some down by the river.
there, I heard.
I saw them down there.
Same area.
They're farther towards Scott's shop.
Maybe something we need to look into, work on something.
Yeah.
And there was some on the
When's
other
your
end too.
next-
Right,
They're going
right.
out of the middle where the kayaks and stuff are. They're all gone out.
When's your next meeting being for
The second, I believe.
Yeah.
October?
October 7th?
Here,
That's-
oh, that's
It's
good.
gonna be at the village office, because I think he wasn't gonna work here,
Oh.
because it's a Tuesday.
Okay. It depends, if it's a Tuesday night and Mark, and they're out and about, he would always like not use the building, because they don't need both.
Yeah.
Just, he'll usually use this for business meetings, but I usually ask him, he's, as long as I give him a heads up.
Are we going
Back
twice
to,
a month?
yeah, back to
Tis
schedule
the
after.
season.
So is that
It's
starting
been a nice
October,
summer, though.
or is there gonna be a second one in September?
I thought it was, no, I think one's just for this month,
Right.
and then back to two.
It's, yeah, right now, my schedule's not gonna be very open friendly.
So,
One of the things about the ordinance and Dean and I had talked about, this is something just to think in the back of your head, and I've been, is, and I think Pierre and I, we talked about it too, is Fairfax hired a constable. And I know before we had gotten a lot of like pushback on the constable. It has to be the right individual. It has to be somebody law enforcement trained. The person in Fairfax was perfect because he's got a law enforcement background and he's got a military background. But then it goes back on this ordinance thing. So you have somebody, and that's the thing they stressed in that ordinance VLCT thing is, you know, they can issue they can serve the citation, the ordinance, you know, the ticket for these books. They can do it from dogs to junk to all these different things. Then you have that individual now going to court. If it does go to court, if it doesn't, you know, they may pay the fine and it doesn't go to court, but there may be somebody that digs their heels in or that it's not going to go anywhere. To hell with it, we're going to go to court. So that individual now can go to court. That individual can manage those tickets because that's the biggest thing is having your T's crossed and your I's dotted when it comes to that. Because if it's not done correctly, it's out.
That's the only thing that person does is ordinances, or does
He
it,
does, that's the
does it do more?
He will assist In Fairfax, they still have the contract with the sheriff's department. He will assist. I don't know to what degree he assists on, but it's primarily for the ordinance thing, and that's what Trevor at VLCT had hammered. He goes, a lot of time. He said that's what a lot of people are leaning on. He goes, but I caution you, don't just. It's not the old days. You can't just get,
Right.
whoever to be that person. So
Well, right, and I think it's because people are, like we talked about earlier, people are so volatile.
Yeah, it's a safety issue, yeah.
right. And the management is basically, that's the biggest thing, is managing those tickets, making sure you go to court, if you have to go to court, making sure those ticket books are filled out properly, and then on us, on the ordinance side, is having those ordinances in place for those things, so like with Joey, the fire, moving Shelby for the dog stuff, the junk thing, all those things, and, it's gonna be a task to do, but we're gonna have to, I think, put some of those things in place, so then the people will have the tools to issue the tickets and.
Are you saying that we should look into hiring a constable?
Something that we may need to think about. If these problems continue, and I think they're going to, because like I said, the one that VLCT had, the ordinance, whatever you wanna call it, they had Zoom meeting that they had, that was to address because so many towns are having the same problems that we're having. And it's the enforcement, like I said, years ago, it was, a letter would take care of it, or a visit, hey, listen, you gotta stop doing that, okay, yep, I will, and now it's, nothing lands.
Do you know what kind of law enforcement his background that person had? I'm just curious.
If you read it in the messenger, go back
it's
to the
in
messenger.
Yeah, I'll go through it.
There's an article in the messenger. I can't remember the guy's name, but
For
he has,
Fairfax, you said?
he has law enforcement and military.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you could find a part-time law enforcement or somebody that wanted to do some of that stuff would be.
I have an individual in mind that I don't want to say his name, but somebody that we know that might get us some good leads as far as that right individual. So it might be a possibility.
Well,
Somebody that-
here.
Somebody that actually may enjoy the work too.
Yeah.
Right.
Energy grant? Yep. So if you remember that municipal, MERP, so many so many acronyms.
Just needed that tonight.
So they did an assessment back whatever it was this summer. So we got,
Was it this summer?
it was this summer, yeah. It was like July, I think it was, something like that. And they went to they went here, they went to the Opera House, they went to the library, and they went to the Armory. So they put this whole 40, 50 page packet together, and they basically boiled it down to, these are the things that you qualify for, and this is what your payback is. Well, the state had 600 buildings or something stupid like that, so there were so many people and they didn't have enough money to go around. Long story short, I'd asked the question, it's are we high on the list? Is this even worth attempting? Because Marlena Valenta from Northwest Regional Planning is kind of administrating this through the state, because this is all ARPA funds is what this all is where it's coming down to. And she said, no, Enosburgh is high on this list. We are a town in need, pretty much, without saying it, we're pretty much guaranteed to get $500,000, up to $500,000. So they gave a list, and it's not just a carte blanche, everything you want, but they gave some, basically, it's this, they boiled it down to,
Highest priorities?
yeah, they boiled it down to mini splits, smart thermostats, fixing leaks and, door sweeps and windows and all that kind of stuff.
And this building is actually slated, in need of, slated is the word, for furnace replacement within the next 2 years, because ours are at the end of their life. So it's good time. And as no heat pumps in here, a little moist in here.
So I kind of starred the thing. So the Opera House has, they have, mini splits in there, which I don't really know how that would work really well with mini splits in the Opera House. So I didn't really checked that as a thing. I had, self-slurring smart thermostat I had checked, and air sealing, and then improve attic insulation. I had checked those three kind of as probably the best fit for the money. I mean, there's, solar, item number 6 on that first one is solar panels, well, 208,000. I mean, we're going into the historic aspect of the building, and
Before we put anything on this roof, we would need to replace the roof.
yeah, so none of them have the solar panel thing checked off. They all have mini splits on them. So, i.e. this building, us sweating to death tonight, having AC in these rooms, and all of these rooms, in the living quarters for the ambulance crew,
And the big room for like the people who come in and exercise every day, that would be more comfortable.
yeah, same thing, armory, all the offices, mini splits in there, so we didn't have to AC the whole building. But at least the offices, that kind of stuff, and I mean, the one thing about that building is it does hold its temperature really well, so I think even just the mini splits in the offices would cool that big room. It's pretty amazing how much that holds, so that's basically, not to get into it, it's none of the solar panel stuff, and it's all just so you can see on what I got checked. There's no match, there's no nothing, it's all, like I said, it's up to 500,000.
We didn't go really crazy on the library because they're up for a grant themselves, kind of the same thing with ARPA funds, something they submitted on their own. So.
I've got it in here to apply for it, because I think, she said if they get it, if you don't, you can, she said just try to take basically whatever you can. I had asked her about the solar panels, I said, like Billy Joe said, the roof here, we don't want to put stuff on the roof if we gotta fix it. She goes, nope, that makes sense, just include that in the grant application.
So you hire the carpenters or?
That's what I'm getting, I emailed her today to ask her that question, right, of who's facilitating the work, and that's what I'm waiting to hear back on, is who's actually, if we're hiring the people, they're hiring the people.
Because lots of times they have to be on that special list.
Right, exactly, so.
Death list. This is where we are now.
Where's the second page about?
It says,
Oh, it's each.
National, former
Oh,
national
okay,
guard.
no, it's just
So one versus Opera House, second is National Guard,
here.
yeah.
So do you put, so what is the,
On that one.
what's the,
I think
put
it's- I
the
think
mini
it's
splits
just-
in on the Opera House?
I can.
I think he put it here.
I just didn't know,
Yeah.
she's also, Marlene's supposed to get back to me
It's
too.
what here, that's what I was asking.
She's supposed to get back to me on the historical side of it, because she obviously knew, I'm like, I don't know if we can do some of this stuff here with that.
We're bound with some of those.
Yeah,
You have to ask those people first.
yeah, so she was supposed to let me know, and it's a super easy grant to fill out. This is 99% of the work is the numbers. It's basically just taking these numbers and plugging it into the application, so the only crappy part is it's due Friday. They just barely released it.
Kind of this Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, they just barely, I think,
Really quick.
yeah, I think that.
Can you handle all that, or do you need somebody?
No, their Efficiency Vermont has been, she called me on Friday, she's willing to help, Marlene is willing to help, so, and we did a webinar through the application's pretty straightforward, so. And it sounds like it's 100%, we've got it, it's just whatever we wanna take, so.
Efficiency Vermont is really good
I'm
about getting
just
back
gonna
to
put
you.
2,000 dollars and say 5,000.
Yeah, it's free money.
Yeah, some of the things, like the savings, like, it's like the solar panels, like one of them there, it was like, oh, it's gonna take you 16 years to save the money back on the solar panels. The true life of it is 2040, I mean, that's the max life, is 24 years, like, that isn't really, Marlena said, like with the mini splits in this room, she said 100% mark it down as a quality of life, as a safety issue.
And really, on the Opera House, nobody's gonna put in the ray up there. I mean, first of all, it's like,
Right.
and it's slate.
And then from there, it's one of those things that,
No,
on the upper house for insulation, up above, how much more do you wanna put up here?
yeah, there's a wall up there.
That's what I was wondering. I was
But
wondering,
where
so,
there's not insulation is in the walls.
yeah.
Right, I mean, that's the only spot that's not, because otherwise, it's almost,
If you go
It's-
upstairs there in the attic,
it's-
it's full up there.
Oh,
It's
there's
2
a
feet.
bunch
Yeah,
of
there's,
it.
they've
Yeah,
recently put it in there in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
yeah. 'Cause remember there we had to go
It's
to
just the walls.
fix the heating thing a couple years ago.
Maybe the squirrels have moved everything around.
Oh, I'll go back up and look again then. I'll go swimming in there.
But anyway, if everyone's kosher with that, I will fill it out starting tomorrow and get it coming, so.
Seems like
And there's no match that goes with this, right?
There's nothing, no match is 100% funded. And there's also, these budgets are supposed to have contingency funds. She assured me of that too, and that it has overages built into it. As I said, that's fine, we all know materials right now are, we don't know what could happen. Okay, yeah, you award this grant now, and we go to do the construction next year and everything's up 20%. And she said that it has a buffer in it.
But then the thing is that, like, if you take a look at the Opera House, okay, they say to upgrade the windows. It's only one house. You can't do it.
That's exactly.
Because it's based on historical.
Right, and see that guy, the guy who did the audit, he was like from Baltimore, and he just came in straight and was like, yeah, new windows, yeah, single pane, you know what I mean? He was just looking at it. That's why I didn't check.
He was realistically doing it.
Really, yeah,
yeah.
not historically.
Yeah.
That guy was in no way, shape, or form, he's a really nice guy, the poor guy got in an accident up here too.
Oh no.
Oh, he got party, he wasn't paying attention. He rear-ended somebody and then he, on 105, he rear-ended on his way up to us. Rear-ended someone and then got rear-ended, he got rear-ended, and then that guy got rear-ended.
Nobody was paying attention.
Yeah.
It's one of those great days and everybody's in ball land.
Yeah.
Solar eclipse again.
But I do wonder about the Opera House, if the money's there, if you throw the mini splits in on that one.
Yeah, cause you can't do the solars.
Right.
No.
No.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do the windows and the solars, but the mini
Well,
splits,
because the windows were just,
yeah, what the hell, at least maybe downstairs where they, you know.
Right, take the moisture
Some of
out,
the mini splits might, yeah, they'll take the moisture out for sure.
might help,
It might cool that place down.
or keep
Yeah.
it warm enough to, no,
A couple units might.
yeah,
Take the chill off anyways, it'll definitely
Right.
assist.
Right, and then I thought about it that way too, the other way, over the heat, I could say take some of it out, you know.
Right. I mean, you go in there in the middle of the winter, and it's cold in there. Even when they run the heat for 2 days, it's cold in there. When you're in there with your mittens on.
at a party.
Your drinks are freezing.
You can add that on the.
I'm not much of a dancer, so I don't get warm. I'm sitting in the corner of my stone bed too much.
Alright,
Yeah.
good, thank you,
Sounds
Jesse.
Thank you.
That's great.
One more quick thing. We talked about the armory. Is there an update? Are you gonna be in anything?
I haven't had an update, to be honest with you, because it's just been with the grand list and getting everything, now the grand list is,
Almost done.
we're
Well,
over the hump now, tax bills have all gone out and everything, so that was a big learning curve and trying to get everything, trying to learn.
Well, it's
everything
not
over the
that
phone.
for lack of trying, because you did call a bunch of the contractors, but they're just on other job.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And the
pulling
other,
them back is hard.
and the other thing too is, we've gotta, and I know with this, the salt and sand shed too, we're gonna have, and I know it's not anything we collectively have to do, but figuring out where that's gonna go. and-
We won't be able to open even if we have stuff ready to be finished, because they're not gonna give us an occupancy.
Remember,
Open the
'cause
doors
it's
with
a
all of
non-sprinkler
Joey's
building.
stuff,
Yeah, that's
which
gonna
is
come
no fault.
out.
We can't just put it outside.
So the vault is done?
Yeah, it's all done, everything's fine, it's just, it's just,
Is the door in it?
no, I haven't done that, no, the door isn't, but that's not it's just, like I said, it's a little bit of electrical, there's not really much left, I mean, Merrill, when he has a second for floors and that kind of stuff, it's just
It is basically just floors and
Yeah,
some electrical.
floors,
And
electrical,
then the
just
computer
cleaning that
people.
area.
right, IT guys, and which IT
It's not a
guys,
lot, but
yeah.
again,
The
we've
ambulance is
been
in there
pushing
too,
it
right?
because of all the stuff that's
No.
stored in there. And it's not just
Oh, it's
Joey's
over
thing.
Yeah.
We've been coming
The new
catch all for
ambulance?
everybody.
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
sitting in the
And,
corner.
and one other thing is, the paving for this yard, has there been bids
I
out? or-
haven't done anything with it because I was waiting to see what they were going to do with their sidewalk project because that was going to come right up through.
Right.
I don't think
I
I
asked,
see much going on with that.
Yeah, no kidding.
I asked today
It'd be
and I
nice.
heard, oh, we might not at the time. So, I'll probably call,
After all that.
I think I'll call those two people we called last year and I'll call Heath Ray and
he's
get
gonna
some
be in our-
prices.
He's gonna be in our neighborhood, I know he's not cheap, but he seems to be more
Well,
available.
we had one cheap last year and then one expensive, so maybe he'll be the tiebreaker.
So, what, you remember the prices last year?
I kept them, they're just in my book that I left on my,
50, 60,
table.
70.
they were really a long ways apart. One was in the 100,000 and one was like 55.
I was gonna say one, it was fairly
Because we were like,
affordable.
what, did they know what they were
considering.
supposed to be doing?
I'm
Because
just
one was
trying to-
really cheap, like super cheap, and the
He's
other one
doing
was over
some floors
100,000.
for us, and I'm guessing he's probably gonna be in the 70 to 80 range. I don't know how long this is, but it's not.
Right.
Some of it's not super wide.
But and I told them both the same thing, it would be like chewing up because some places are nothing. So chewing up what is there, and then just,
So that that might be a
Regrading
little
it.
different than what they do for us because they just
Yours is all fresh.
well we got concrete there, so they just go over it.
but before I do
Putting that in
that,
bunkers?
Yeah, we did it in the yards. Now we're gonna try to put something in the bunker.
so just where we're clear, so if we have that done this year, like when they put the sidewalk in next year, they will be cutting into that.
Yeah.
So,
We
not
might as
sure
well
what your
wait.
thought.
Might as
Yeah.
well wait till they're done their project.
I mean, I don't know, I just hate to have them cut new pavement. But this morning I was told probably not this year. I mean, because of everything that's still going on with their water sewer project.
Speaking of sidewalks too, I forgot all about, when I met with Abby, apparently, so they're doing that sidewalk to the park and ride.
This year?
No, this is another one too, so this is, I guess, next year, maybe, yeah, 25, I think is what she said. But they're not going just to the armory, they're gonna continue to go to the park and ride in front of the armory. And she asked, so I met with her and she said, well, if you want any of these trees removed, I'm like, nothing wrong with the maples, don't remove those. I wouldn't think.
But they're gonna be
You
right in the
leave
way,
that
aren't they?
alone.
We're gonna have to do that.
No,
You
if-
leave that
if
tree
it's-
alone.
So Gary, Den was there, and we think it's
I like
a
trees.
3-rod road. If it's a 3-rod road, then it's right, and where the state has it, they have a sign right there, like a buckle up sign or
Yeah.
something right there.
Yeah.
Wherever that sign is, that's right where it is, and it should be fine. The only thing they would really just have to do is just kind of trim
I
them,
wouldn't mind trimming.
but it's up to you guys
I said
on
take
the,
them down.
on that pine. If
There?
you want the pine gone, they'll include it. If you don't want
Do
the
you
pine
have
gone.
something against trees?
Just
No,
doing-
no, I believe in them. I got them in my house.
That's why
I used to have a whole bunch more like
I'll
that.
second Pierre.
I did too, I lost the one tree I had.
Which is the toughest part is that if we go through with that
Yeah, they don't actually.
Lighting.
I don't want to. Well, I don't want to give him more than some.
our lighting sign,
You just trim that tree up.
that tree's gonna have to go.
Right.
And then from there, it's gonna become a hazard.
Well, if you do want it, it's the board's decision. I said, well, I was gonna meet with you guys Monday. I said anyway, but if you want it, they will include
It
it
has
as
to
part
be
of
what
the
you put
grant.
on there, I don't
to
know,
remove
maybe that
the
was from
tree.
the last time and I just didn't.
Like I said,
Included.
the maples, I didn't want, I said, there's nothing wrong with maples, they're nice maples.
I
Are
see.
they gonna get into the roots and stuff on them, though?
Keep signing it though.
I mean, it's up to you guys. If you want a bag
Yeah,
of
I
use,
mean-
it's not me, it's not my call.
You're gonna
I would
change
throw
it.
it
Yeah.
in just in case, as a
I love
backup.
that spruce, cause every time I go
I know,
I
it's
hit
cool,
my
it's
hand.
kinda cool.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And every
It's
time I
like-
think
We
about
can
you every
trim some
time, and I think to
branches.
myself, all we gotta do is trim some branches.
Take it down, Bill, take it down.
You don't like it scratching your head?
I hate for
Every
trees.
or sending pine cones through your mower.
You know, near our sign and.
Out of the road.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Why are you? Oh, people. Please no.
Alright.
She did say if the maples, they could be replanted, but I don't know if you wanna, I'll think about it and let me know, and then we can get back to her, I can get back to her, or whatever you wanna do.
People with pictures.
Who's that?
The-
Abby from the.
Abby, in front of the armory, those trees, they're bringing a sidewalk to the park and ride,
You leave those trees alone.
and she
We'll
wanted to
trim
know
them for
if
Phil's
you
pay.
guys, the board, wanted those cut down, removed, cause if you did, then they would put it part of the grant.
Cause the other thing is, I mean, do they have to go all the way down the parking ride?
Yeah.
Why?
I asked the question too, but.
It's a parking lot.
Parking wall.
Why wouldn't you put the sidewalk all the way to the parking lot?
Why don't you just
No,
put
no,
a
no,
crosswalk there and
no,
go
no,
across the
I think,
street to that?
yeah, but I think Jesse's saying all the way, for what I'm taking, all the way down, that means, okay, so you get,
It's gonna go all the
Gonna
way
go
to
to
the
the
parking
parking
lot.
lot.
It's gonna go in front of our building, right to the parking lot. It's gonna go all.
There's a sidewalk on the parking lot.
Yeah, it's gonna connect to that, right.
Right, but the thing is that, I mean, if your entrance is right here, are we talking it's going all the way to here? Or is it going just to here?
Just the entrance.
Just the entrance, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, no, he said all the way.
Well,
Where
no,
did you
no,
think
no,
it was?
I meant all the way to it. I'm saying right to
Okay.
there. That right where there's a little bus stop right there. That's
Right.
where he's gonna go to work on there.
Gonna go to the bus stop.
Okay.
Did you think it was gonna go all the way down to Maple Fields?
No, that's why
No.
I wanted that
That's a good
clarification.
idea.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then who has control of that? Park and ride.
Park and Ride is the state of Vermont's property.
I just,
Oh, so that car that's been sitting here, that's their problem?
The one with the front wheel off it, you mean?
No, the ones with the flat tires. that are
I
sitting there.
guess there's two. There's
Well,
a
there was
couple of,
There's a truck there with
It
the
used to be
front
a-
wheel off it the other day.
Yeah, 2 pickups
um,
over in the corner.
yeah, it's not our, I mean, it used to be our property, but because they turned into a parking lot, they were still,
and
should send
Bakersfield
some-
just got awarded some sidewalk grant money too, and I'm like, where are they gonna put that? Because they already got a
They
sidewalk.
were on sidewalks
how
a few
far are
years
they gonna
ago.
go?
They're going down there to Street Farm.
It's for bicycle path. That's what it was. Bicycle path. And I'm, yeah. Like,
People have way too much argument.
well, they just put curbings all the way up and down Bakersfield, so it's only so wide.
Right.
There's no room for it there. And
Oh, wow, that's what it costs.
I don't know.
14,000.
Well, like I said, think about it. Let me know. I can just go back to them. I don't know when we need. She didn't give me a date, but if you
Got
want
the
to
trees?
keep them for the trees, yeah. If you want to keep them, bag them.
Maybe we should all take a
Big-
spin
yeah.
over to see.
Yeah, go take a look.
Good, good healthy.
They'll want to keep that pine tree. He already said that.
I hate to cut them if we don't have.
I mean, I hate to, but the thing is that it's,
No, you don't. You've been wanting that since the ownership. That was the first thing
You know
you
what
tried to
lumber's in
do.
that tree? That's what he's looking at, the Christmas spruce is up in there.
on top, I could use it for a Christmas tree.
You
Yeah.
climb up there and cut it off.
We can put it in the armory,
Yeah.
Town Christmas tree.
Personally, I don't care. It makes no difference to me.
We'll put some little ones in
But you don't
after.
need a decision
Not
right now, anyway.
They said drive by and just look.
They're planning.
Okay.
Look, see if you like it.
There you go. Job you did twice this year on the side of the road. You did a good job.
Oh, boy.
And the key to think about it is like, we don't have to maintain that equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. After seeing like all the stuff is getting dumped on the side of the road, and you're putting your mower through all that.
It's been nasty.
Yeah.
We're good to adjourn, aren't we?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll second it.
Well, who first
I'll
did
make a motion. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Ready to go home?
He'll second.
Oh, thank you guys for this too. The hat. I was telling Billy Joe that Dwayne's, oh, sorry, we haven't finished.
All those in favor of adjourning?
Bye.
Aye.
Aye.
Are we done?
We're done.